They do.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
In Brazil is eu faço. They, eles fazem. It's different. You understand?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Because
is difficult. Is more difficult for an English person to learn Portuguese than a Brazilian person to learn English, because these facilities of the island is the difficult are the contractions of the words. Is more difficult for
I
us.
see.
But the other things are easier.
Yeah,
Are easier.
I see. Yeah, English is really hard, but there is no any. There is some rules, but there is a lot of different irregularities like sounds and like we say Ronaldo and then they say Ronaldo is different though.
Yes.
So, I know the famous soccer player Ronaldo.
Ronaldo, yes.
Yeah, but we say
yes.
So in Korean they followed the what is the native pronunciation.
Okay.
So Brazilians say Ronaldo and then we say Ronaldo in Korea. But here they change their own sound. So Ronaldo is different.
Different sounds.
Yeah.
This
is different.
They don't understand my name. What's your name? Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Oh, spell for me, please.
Maybe they start with the H.
Yes. Spell for me, please. I spell Ronald.
Yeah.
Ronald.
Yeah, it's a different.
Já in Spanish, if I speak my name, Ronaldo, they Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Well, tem a different sound.
Yeah. So it's a different.
Yes.
Yeah. But anyway, so welcome to the class, and you registered the class last week or this week?
No, this is the second time I came here to
Class.
to assist the class.
But you are the first time. This is I never seen you in my class.
No, it's the first time.
Yeah.
The last week I came on Monday.
I see.
On Monday, I came here on Monday.
Okay.
And I had the class with the teacher. Jay.
Okay.
Jay is his name.
Yeah, my class is on Friday.
On Fridays.
Yeah, so this is my third class, but last week nobody showed up, so I just went back home. Nobody's here.
Nobody.
Yeah, nobody was here.
Okay.
So today, if nobody showed up, and I'm gonna go back my home. Yeah, go back back to my home, and then from next week I'm not gonna be here. But you showed up.
Okay. No.
Yeah.
Yes. Cause we have to work, and
I know.
sometimes I would like to come here always in the same day of the week. For example, all Fridays or all Mondays, for example. But sometimes I receive orders of services, and I can't go because my time. Sometimes I am in Riverside, for example, and
I see.
I don't have time to arrive.
Yeah, I know. I understand. Yeah. So.
Now I have to cancel one service for 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have to go here since once a week.
Yeah.
And
I see.
sometimes it's not possible.
I know, but so I understand the students, even though they come here, but they don't have any green card to stay legally here, but that's why they want to come to school to keep their legal status.
Yes.
But they have to work for their living,
Okay.
right? Other than that, then how can you live here?
Yes.
So that's why it's hard to do that. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I understand the situation, but yeah, it's very complicated.
Yes, we are liking to live here a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But to be totally happy,
Mm-hmm.
uh, for me is important. I am 60 years old, okay? It's hard to
I know.
start everything
I
again
know.
because I studied all my life, and I believe I will be happy when I have a job that I wake up early in the morning,
Yeah.
start my day, and come back to my house at the final of the day.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
this
I
kind of
understand. Yeah, I understand. And then, yeah. Hold on, please.
job. Okay.
Maybe I know. Yeah. That's why. That's why it's not easy to live in America. Yeah, I understand. And then I came over here about 28 years ago. Yeah. But my situation was different. But when I came here, I already got the document. So I didn't have to do that. So yeah, I was.
Get the document.
So it was different. So
I entered here with the tourist visa.
yeah.
Okay, in the final of the 6 months I'm here, I changed my status for students.
Hmm.
Okay,
Wow.
and the other school, I have online classes, only online classes.
Yeah.
But
At that time.
this course,
Do you know during the pandemic and yeah, so we can do the online class.
Yeah.
No in class. No, there is no class in the classroom. But
physical.
nowadays, yeah, pandemic is already done, and then we needed to come to school.
Yes.
Yeah,
The-
we
this-
needed to come
this-
to school.
This course finish. Don't not going to have more anymore. This kind of course, and they wanted I am in the school 4
They-
times a week,
Oh,
2 hours a day. I can't because I need to work.
yeah,
I need to gain money, to earn money.
yeah,
So
I know.
I changed it for Lordland.
yeah. It's a
Lordland.
lot of school. That's why they open a class during the daytime. So after work, they come to the class and they sitting there. So yeah. Last night I had a class and then about 40 to 50 students were there. 40 to 50 students almost, and then
For 2?
just last night
Oh, okay.
so another school. So
Other school.
yeah, another school, and then but when I come here, so nobody showed up. So it's a different. So last October, since October last year, and then we have to open the class in the classroom, yeah, physically.
컴퓨터를 껐다가 다시 한번 켜주시면 디텍트를 못하네.
That's the problem. Really good to see you today. Yeah, I was waiting for 30 minutes and nobody showed up, and I'm gonna go home. So, but you showed up. So you gotta leave at 11 o'clock?
11 o'clock.
You gotta leave at 11 o'clock or what? No?
No.
Okay, you can stay until 12 o'clock. I see.
오케이. 예.
Wow, it's not easy for you because you are not young anymore, right? Yeah, coming to other country in your age and start over everything, and then it's not easy.
Yes.
Too many.
그 맥북은 그 닫을 때 그 오픈되어 있던 프로그램들이 새로 켜면 싹 또 다시 뜨니까. 오케이.
Yeah.
예.
왜 근데 글씨가 안 나오죠? 이것만 그러네. 오케이.
대신 그거.
Yeah. Yeah. This class is about what is it? Wisdom literature, wisdom, and I don't know whether in Brazil and there is some proverbs. So it's like it's the word is kind of experienced and accumulated, and then there is a kind of people say that if you don't do that, if you do that, it's not good for you, like a kind of a word, right?
Right.
And there's a proverbs, and then if you read the Bible and different genres, kind of books, so some books are like stories, some books are like historical writing, some books are like poetry,
Okay.
poem, and some books like give you some wisdom how to do that, and based on that one, if you follow, if you don't listen to, and if you follow that way, you're not gonna be successful like this. And then there's a wisdom book, so proverbs, and some books like prophecy, and then God choose some people and deliver his message through the prophet. So something is happen in the future, and that is a prophecy. And there's that kind of a book is there. And then when you come to the New Testament, and then Paul and other disciples of Jesus Christ wrote a lot of books. We call it epistles, letters,
Okay.
and Romans, and what is that? Keep coming. Yeah, that is kind of that's what we call the genres, different types of books in the Bible. So this class explores about wisdom. When you live a daily life, and then there is a lot of saying that right. So in Brazil, I don't know what kind of word do you have, and in also like a first come, first serve, and then like Oliver to catch something like this in English, but I don't know in Brazil. And I mean, if you read the Bible, and there's a lot of word about give us wisdom. That is from our forefathers, and then maybe the experience, and then it's not an absolute truth, but there is a possibility. If you follow that way, maybe more successful. But not all the time. It's not right all the time. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that is a wisdom. So we're gonna. We are not covered all the books here, but maybe 3 books. And first book is Proverbs and Jobs and Ecclesiastes. So based on the experience and how you can be wise in your life. Yeah, that is about this class. So last week we talked about the kind of introduction of the wisdom literature. So we say wisdom literature, but from today, last week, we're going to talk about specific books, but nobody showed up last week. And then I'm going to talk about basic kind of idea about how you understand the wisdom books in the Bible, right? And so we're going to go over each 3 books, and then first book is about the Proverbs. So I'm going to give you basic kind of an overview of the Proverbs, and then we're going to skim through the books. And after that, another 3 weeks, we're going to talk about the Jobs. There is another wisdom book in the Bible, and then same thing, same format. So I'm gonna give you overview and then we could kind of skim through the whole book. And so we're gonna learn about 3 books, wisdom books, 3 books here in the class, and then maybe you can when you read other wisdom book in the Bible, and then maybe you can know how to study, how to understand the books, right? And do you know the word the Proverbs? Proverbs.
Problems. The problems or
verbs. Proverbs.
Proposits in Portuguese. Proposits.
Okay.
Objectives.
Oh, no. The Proverbs mean the kind of a word saying about to help you what to choose, not to choose. There is no like this. Proverbs.
Proverbs. Okay.
Proverbs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Proverbs. Okay.
That is we're gonna talk about today. The first part of the Proverbs is I have a 3 part of the Proverbs in the classroom. But we're gonna this is the first part, and then here is some Bible verse. Have you go to church, or you are Catholic, or you are not Christian?
No, I am a Catholic.
Catholic, right? And so maybe you exposed to the Bible, right?
Right.
And then there's a Proverbs in the Bible, chapter 1 to 7. Here it is. The Proverbs of Solomon, son of David, king of Israel. Meaning that he wrote the Proverbs. He's saying about all things. Solomon is the son of David, right? He's the king of Israel. He said, to know wisdom and instruction, and to understand the word of the insight, to receive instruction in wise dealing, in righteousness and justice and equity, to give prudence to the simple, and to knowledge and discretion to the youth. Let the wise hear and increase in learning, and the one who understands obtain guidance. To understand the Proverbs and saying, the word of the wise and the riddles. Sometimes they use the riddle, puzzles. And then the fear of the Lord is the beginning of the knowledge, and fools despise wisdom and the instruction like this. And Bible said, okay, if you are wise, if you want to get the knowledge and wisdom, and then there's the fear of the Lord. And but the fools, the silly people, and despise, ignore, and look down to the wisdom and instruction like Proverbs.
Okay.
Yeah, that is like this, and then that is kind of a format, but this is shows that what is a Proverbs, what is the purpose of a Proverbs. So, and if Proverbs gives you wisdom and instruction, okay, how can when you are in such a situation and remember what your parents said and then what people usually said and think about it and what can I do, right? And then sometimes there's a special instructions there, and then if you follow, and then you're gonna have you're gonna be more successful. If you don't follow, and then it's not easy to deal with a situation like this. And then there's a kind of a purpose of Proverbs. And there's a I'm gonna just show what is a Proverbs. And so let's go over the basic kind of what's overview. And do you know overview? Basic idea about Proverbs. Yeah. So here it is, and then I got some information from Brad Clausen. He wrote about how to interpret the Proverbs. How can you interpret? And there's a different way that you could interpret the Bible. And Bible is written about 4,000 years ago, 50,000 years ago, and recent one is 2,000 years ago, right? The disciple of Jesus Christ. And there's a big gap between the time and nowadays, right? Okay. And think about 2,000 years ago, and culture is totally different from now. Yes. And
different situations.
Yeah. I grew up like a rural countryside in Korea, and sometimes I talk about my childhood life to my wife. She grew up in Seoul, it's a big city, and my daughters, I have 2 daughters, they never thought about it. I know they traveled to the Mexico, and it's a really poor area, and then they can see how people are living there, and then they never thought about how I grew up. And then sometimes I talk about my childhood life, and then they say, huh? They don't understand. Even though, just think about around 40 years, 50 years difference, but my wife, and she's older than 3 years older than I am, but still she doesn't know about, even though we lived in the same country, but they don't know about the lifestyle that I had when I was childhood. Even though it's not 1 century, but think about Bible. It's about 50,000 years ago, 4,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago. Big time gap is there. So that's why we need to understand and interpret the Bible right way. That is the most important thing, because it's not the same situation. Culture is different, right?
It's important to interpretation that time and transform in nowadays.
Yeah.
To use the teachings that kind of time, no, and to use how to use this teaching nowadays.
Yeah. That's why we got to study about that time. What is the culture, what is the historical background, and what happened in the situation. That's why we study and interpret the Bible. And then, and then we can get some principle from the Bible, right? And then bring it to the nowadays, and we can apply it to our life. That is a process.
Yeah.
But now we cannot we cannot put ourselves in the same time, right? You cannot make idea same. So it's not same. But that's one of the mistake that people just about happenings 2,000 years ago and 4,000 years ago, and then without any interpret and study, and they take as nowadays happening like this. But it's different. And that is how to interpret your Proverbs. And then, first of all, he said Brad Clausen said that interpret each Proverbs depends on God's assistance. It means that we believe that who is the author of the Bible? Not Moses, not Paul, not John and Matthew, but we believe that the author of the Bible is God. But God is not visible. We cannot see him, God, but God chose someone, and then wrote the Bible. Used history and used their culture. Right?
This power of God to influence people.
Yeah, that's why when people study the Bible, starting with prayer, we believe the Spirit, we believe God, and okay, can you help me to understand right? Can you help me to understand your word right? And then they start to prayer, and then totally depends on God. I need your help. Open my eyes to see your word like this, because we already know that, and here it is. And then what Bible said, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of the knowledge. So we bring our heart before God, and then we pray to God, and then start from there. That's really important things. And then if you read, I didn't bring it in Proverbs. Maybe we can see next week in chapter 3, and then we said welcome to the class. Yeah. He said Proverbs chapter 35, and like the trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding. Don't trust your knowledge. Instead, trust in the Lord, and then in all your ways acknowledge Him. Okay, He is the beginning of the knowledge and beginning of the wisdom. That's why we need to depend on God. We need to depend on God. There is one of the way that it's not only the Proverbs, and then when you read the Bible, that is a really basic foundation when you study Bible, when you read the Bible. And here it is. Proverbs we already talked about. It's about how many years ago? 3,000 years ago. And then study the Proverbs historical and cultural context. So we need to understand about Near East, Eastern culture, like around the area, right? Maybe it's different from Korean culture. There is, we say collective culture. It's not like Western culture. Western culture is really individualistic, right? Okay, I can take care of myself and take care of yourself, right? Like this is very individualistic, but collective culture is it's really focused on the groups and community. What about Brazilian culture? It's really collective, right? And think about family more, think about group more. It's a Korean culture too, but in American culture, like Western culture, is really focused on self. So how do you say, I go to school? always think about when I say something, I, right? And then in Korea, and then sometimes we say, instead of I, we say we go to school. And then, yeah, we go to school, and then, well, it means I'm going to school. That's the difference. Even though was a listeners not involved in the situation, but we say we. Because the culture is kind of formed in the way. And so when I come here and then say, unconsciously I talked on I was talking to someone on the phone, and I say we, but the other side they are really confused. But I never got involved with you in the past, and I'm not doing anything with you. But you say we, but I mean that I. This is kind of different cultures, right? That's why we need to understand historical and cultural context. I mean, the context is really important. You cannot take out one verb and take out 2-3 verbs like a phrase from the whole text, and you maybe use for your own things, but you totally misunderstand. When you understand verse 3-5, you're gonna see the words verse 1-4, and you're gonna see the verse 6, 7, and 10 like before. Context means that before and after you gotta know what happened, right? That's the context is really important. So when you communicate each other, and then just think about sometimes you don't know the context in communication, and then you just focus on what he said one sentence. There is misunderstanding, getting worse. Conversation is getting worse. But if you know the context of what we are talking about, sometimes explanation is a little bit different, but we understand it because of the context, what we are talking about. But without context, they always kind of misunderstand what people are saying. So that's why we need to know the cultural context. So, by the way, so what is your name?
Beyazit.
Ben
Beyazit.
Beyazit?
Yeah.
So where are you from? Turkey. So your culture is like more closer to the biblical culture around their area. So, and he's from Brazil.
My name is Ronaldo. I'm from Brazil, São Paulo.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I'm Christian. So my name is Christian, and then I came from Korea. Yeah, that's why we kind of common cultural kind of foundation. So we are from the collective culture, really community and family, oriented culture. So a little bit different. Yeah, but sometimes when I hear someone is talking about the biblical cultures, and then they are totally misunderstanding because they never thought about it. They never grown up in that kind of context. That's why I'm a Korean, and then when I read the Bible, I can feel more than the others. People we analyze all verses. We gotta know the cultures. So what happened at the time. That's why the historical cultural context is really important. And then after that, examine the Proverbs, literary context. In that is sometimes there's a lot of different expressions. So, and sometimes there is, I already told you, and then before, after is like a chapter. Right? So when you read the Bible, and before and after is a kind of, chapter 1 is like this one, I want to understand this one, and then you need to understand the 1-4, and you need to understand the 5, 6, 10, like immediate context is really important. And then what about books? And when you read your Proverbs, and then what is chapter 1 to chapter 1? What is chapter 2? What about books? And what is the before and after. So what kind of genres, like that is a context. And then another one is a revelatory context, and then what try to say about God. How do they relate to about God? That is a kind of important context when you examine the literary context. That is a historical, cultural, literary context is really important when you interpret the Bible. And here it is. Consider how the prophets incorporated general revelation. It means that we said and how we understand God in two ways. We said general revelation and special revelation. General revelation is that so to everybody, like nature, and we have air, right? Everybody can see, and then everybody can know. That is a general revelation. And then, have you gone to any beautiful place in your countries? Yeah, that is amazing. If you go there and see the scene, and wow, it's amazing. Who can do it? Who can create this scene, this nature? And then maybe beyond our imagination, beyond our skills, maybe there is a God who create the whole thing. That's general revelation to everybody. Everybody, and then they can sense of existence of God. That is a general revelation. But special revelation is like God revealed Himself to people. It's a special way. So like Bible. He talked His word to Moses and then other prophets, other people, and then let them write down. And then there's a way that we can understand God. That's what we call the special revelation. So, he said Proverbs incorporated the general revelation in that it's not all the way related to the Bible, but I already told you the Proverbs is like experience accumulated and what they learned in history, right? So every culture has different proverbs, but somehow there is a similar expression is there. So sometimes I have some proverbs in Korean, so I don't know how to say it in English. And then I typed it, and then there is a kind of a similar expression in English like that. And that's why, even though cultures are different and how through their how to live and how to adjust to the natures and how to live together, and then how to they live in the society, and then they experience a lot of things, and they got some knowledge, and they got some wisdom from wisdom that they learned from the situation, and then they kind of handed it down to generation. That's why when they hear about it, and then maybe sometimes it makes sense and gives you more, help you kind of help you make a right choice. Not all the time absolute right choice. That's why general revelation means that whether you are Christian or not, whether you know God or not, and then to everybody. Makes sense. I mean that even though they don't know God, and when you read the Bible and this part of the books, and then read some Bible, and then you can understand it. Yeah, that's true like this. Not only to the Christians, but Proverbs in the Bible, but still relate to the God. It's not, like to the, without God, like general peoples, right? Without God. It's not, but always relate to the life in God. It's a little bit different. Any questions? No? If you have any questions, and then, and then you gotta analyze the problem's internal structure. I mean that there's a lot of different expression and technique they use it. Sometimes they use the same things, kind of but different expression. There is a synonymous parallelism. The line of the proverbs communicate the same idea but different terminology. Like that way, sometimes a different way. What is a wise man and simple man, right? Like this, and then different way. So we can see a lot of different expression is different. That's why we need to understand the what's a basic structure of the sentence, right? And that is kind of four way kind of express use of kind of technique in the problems in the Bible. And just a basic idea about A, B, C, D, E, but there is some more idea about how can you interpret the proverbs. And here is, do not treat the proverbs as a exhaustive summation of reality. Meaning that this is not absolute, right? No, no, it's not their culture, and then it's not related to us. Don't use it like that. Don't think about it like that, right? There is, even though the vocabulary is different, even though the situation is different, but we can know that, we can learn something from the Bible. So don't do that. And another thing is that, Proverbs is like absolute truth. Not absolute truth. That's based on the possibilities. Because our experience is not truth. I let you know. And last weekend, my daughter, younger daughter, got a car accident. And then it was pretty severe. And then she called me, and then what happened, and then she blah blah blah, and then I asked, and she was safe, and then it's okay. And then I asked what happened, and then she kind of explained the situation, and probably it's your mistake. But she was really upset. That's not my mistake. That's the other part of the mistake. And then she was really upset, and because I didn't support her, and then there was no intention, but she's safe now and everything's okay. And then when I hear what happened, and then she was a little bit, maybe you might, maybe your fault, and then she was really upset and hung up. And and then because based on my experience, I don't know exact situation, but communication is really limited because we were talking on the phone, and she was in Arizona and I was in LA, so we live in different states. And then I had a similar accident here twice. That was my fault. But I don't know exact kind of description is when I hear about the description, and then based on my experience, or maybe your fault. And then later on, she said, she's not her fault. And in Arizona, and the situation is like, either lane, and then someone is cutting, and you hit even the back of the car, and their mistake. Yeah. So sometimes state law is different, and sometimes the situation is different. But my kind of mistake was that I had experience, and then twice. And I hit the car back a little bit. They measured middle, and then which part of you hit the car, and then your mistake was other part mistake. So a little bit back, I hit it twice, and then that was my mistake. Based on my experience, your mistake. But I was wrong. Because I'm living here. She lives in Arizona, it's a different state. Sometimes state law is different. And sometimes I generalize with my experience, but the situation is different. That's why Proverbs gives you some insight to help you can make a right judgment, right? This one, which one is good, which one is not good. But it's not absolute guaranteed truth. That is a kind of we need to know that. And then another things we need to recognize some proverbs look at the life as it is, but not as it should be. So this is my life because based on my experience. And then we already read the first verse in Proverbs, and that's Solomon's basic idea about his experience. He learned from the fathers and experience learned from the cultures. But life is like situation is different, but not should be like that, right? I mean, it's a similar this one, but it's a little bit different. But we need to know that everybody lives in different situations. You guys live in Brazil like 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, and Turkey, I don't know how long, but you came to America. So situation is different. Sometimes maybe your problems in your country may be more accurate, more possibility there to follow, but here may be totally different. Yeah. That means. Any questions? No. Here is a basic background and then overview of the Proverbs, and then here is about who wrote the Proverbs. And there is 3-4 kind of authors, and then not from the everything, not from everything is not from Solomon's, but in the beginning we said he said it's from Solomon. So he is a king in Israel around BC, this period, 971 and 931. So he is an author that collect a lot of proverbs and then kind of make a book, right? And so there is not his own things, it's from the proverbs copied by the Hezekiah. There is one part of the Proverbs, and another part of the Proverbs is here, and then there are also 2 batches of the saying from the group called the wise, but we don't know who they are. Like this part is not from Solomon, but some people, and oracles from the augurs, and then there's a different part, and rumor is like a different part. Can you see the different kind? But it's not one people who mainly is a Solomon's saying, and he collected, he wrote it, but mainly he is, but there is a different authors there. So probably he said it. Although the Proverbs not begun in the same time of Solomon, and then it probably was not its present form until the times of Hezekiah. It means that after him, and maybe the times of Hezekiah, and they probably it's like formed in this form. That is a basic idea. So needed to know that around 9,000 years ago. So from now it's almost 3,000 years ago, 4,000, more than 3,000 years ago, right? There's a big time gap is there. Who is our audience, receivers? When you write a book, and sometimes Bible books always is that there is a receiver, audience we call it. And here is, and when you read a book, and then there is no specific audience. always my son, and kind of young man, like this, always but not just Solomon's son, but it's kind of generally to more people who are youth and young people, but to everybody, yeah, eventually, and so all leaders can apply lessons of their own lives, yeah, their own lives. So maybe even though expression is like a young man, but still whether you're old or young, and still you can see what they're saying and learn and apply the kind of insight to their your life and my life, right? So it's benefit from everybody. So there is a audience. So there is no specific people mentioned in the Bible. What about key terms, and then what kind of ideas and in the Proverbs? If you read in Proverbs, there's a lot of different things. Maybe just think about they collect and they write about sayings and hear from their parents or the people maybe as own experience. But still, there's a lot of topics here like diligence and laziness, and friendship and speech, what you say, what you not say, and then marriage. How can you have a happy marriage life, and then how can you raise children, and then how can you keep the peace in your house and with others, and what about your work? How can you can be successful in your workplace, and then what about eating alone, and what's manners? How can you have good manners, and then what about eternity? We live. Our life is not done yet. Our life is not done here, but we're going to eternity. So, yeah, like this. There's a lot of topics are here. It's a basic idea, but sometimes more topics here. There is a kind of idea that Proverbs we can see mainly. And what did the author try to say through these key terms? And here is the basic idea about God's will is intensely practical and applying to every aspect of life. That's why they try to show us. It's not. This is even though it's a saying, it's not. The saying is not separate from their life. And like Israel, like Judaism, like Islam is about their religion is very closely woven in their life. So it means they kind of go together. So it means that think about how they can walk with God, daily life. That's why it's really practical. And then if you live in that way, and then God's will be done in your life, and then you're gonna be better. So always, they relate to God's. And another thing is that the life lived by God's will is a happy life, more successful if you live in that way, and happy and successful. That's when I will try to deliver the message. And then what about a life lived by God's will is a useful life, give you more insight and make you be wise in certain situation, and you're not going to lose, and then you're not going to gain more, like this, useful. And what's a life lived by God does not just happen, just not kind of act by accident. And we gotta seek after it. what it means, and then try to kind of life is in God is daily life is closely related in God's will, with God's will, not just separate. Okay, our daily life is related to the God's will. So how can we live life more happy, but in God, in God. That is basic idea about even though the Proverbs have a general revelation to everybody, and then that's why he said that this is a Judaism at the time, Judaism perspective, and then life is very closely connected with God. So without God, there's no life, and then that's why they connected wisdom with God's will. Any questions? No? So if you have any questions, just let me know. And what about purpose? And there is a lot of key, and then why did the authors write this book and saying these things? The purpose is there, and then there is if you read we already read the book, and then if you read the Proverbs, and there is a specific purpose is there, but here is some general purpose, and then purpose is mentioned in the Proverbs, and then one of the purposes is that the playing a role as an extended commentary of the law of the Old Testament, the law of the law, and then this is one of the this is one of the way that how can we keep the God's word in our daily life, and how can we practice God's love in our daily life like this. It's not like a law that given to the Moses, but it's related to our practical daily life. There is kind of general purpose, and then another purpose is to fear the Lord. Fear the Lord is the beginning of the wisdom and beginning of the knowledge. So how can you fear the God in your daily life? In with others, in societies. That is how can you live life here in fearing God. So that is one of your purpose in the so the authors described what wisdom is, and help God's people to become wise, and then what is wisdom? How wisdom can help to live in your daily life. That is the basic idea, and then, but wisdom is founded in the fear of the Lord, and there's no way you can find wisdom in God. Fearing God. So there is the only way. So kind of wisdom in our believers and at that time the Jewish, right? To express their faith in the practical details of daily life, everyday daily life. That is one of the purpose. So nowadays for the Christian, and then just think about why we read this one. And some people read every chapter, one chapter every day, the Proverbs, to get. Sometimes you learn, and then as time goes by, you forget, right? So you don't know, and let them keep reminding what they learn and read, and people they try to get the wisdom from the Proverbs, but that is not just wisdom, how you can be wise in daily life, and then but still that is to express the faith that you have in Christ, and then that is the way, purpose of the one of the purpose of the Proverbs. And So the prime purpose of the Proverbs is to spell out strikingly, memorably, and concisely just what it means to be fully at God's disposal. So it's a very short sentence or a phrase, but think about how can live your life for God and in God like this. But it's very concise and it's very memorable. It's easy to memorize. So gives you follow the life in the way and then live in God. That's why. It's similar to this one, but still a little bit divided to details. So that is the purpose of the Proverbs. Have you talked to your children about something about Proverbs that you have in your culture? So like in Korean, sometimes I didn't talk to my kids, and sometimes we say that the empty vehicle is loud. So what do you mean that? Empty vehicle is louder. Suppose nothing much, and there is they don't know much about in-depth knowledge of it, but they pretended to know everything and speak out. We said it. Empty vehicle is louder. And sometimes, I talk to my kids like this. Yeah, we have proverbs like this. Yeah, saying, we have a saying like this, and empty vehicle is loud. Yeah. There's a lot of way that you can express, give kind of hand it down the wisdom to your children. Yeah. So I hope, Do you have kids?
No.
No, not yet. I have 2 kids, and then they are already grown up. So they are 25 years, 20. This year is 26 and 25, 27, and they said, I already grown up, and then I can take care of myself. No worry. And this time, my younger one said he got a car accident, and then we are really worried about it because she finished medical school, graduate school, and she's gonna be a resident in the hospital for surgery. So, but she got hurt hands, and so we are really worried about, and what if she got hurt in nerve and some other things, and maybe if she cannot use her hand, and then she can be a surgeon. So maybe she's gonna start the residency in June next month, and then she need to move to Boston, and then we really worry about, and then we drove there, and then she was really upset, and I can take care of myself, and I know what's going on, and then she was not welcoming us. That is anyway. So that is kind of it's not easy to. Sometimes it's not easy to kind of hand down the saying, because their kind of experience, their word is different from ours. So but anyway, if you have a chance, and then think about how can your kids can make wise, help them to be wise. Maybe I can see a lot of YouTubes, and then there is a really wide parent, and then when kids are asking some question, and then they think about it, and really nice way, good way to explain, to remember, and never forget, like that. That's kind of wisdom. Here is the basic outline of the Proverbs, and then here is kind of I divided. So the Proverbs of Solomon's, and then if you read chapter 1 through it's chapter 1 through 9, it's about the Proverbs of the Solomon. So if you divide a little bit detail in prologue is about the purpose of Proverbs, and then chapter 1 through 7 is the prologue, and then before you start, and then why you need to put why for what, and then here is a basic some instruction. It's sometimes about adultery, sometimes about different things, right? There is a basic instruction by the Solomon, and then here is Proverbs of Solomon. There is a kind of an introduction, and then here's a specific way that 10 to 22, and then there is the antithetical proverbs mean that they use a different way. If you are or if you are here is a wise man versus a foolish, stupid man, and they a different way. And the antithetical, and then was a synonymous proverbs is mostly it's like similar things. Use not contrast but similar. That is 16 to 22. So that is the way that Solomon kind of talking about proverbs. There is a 10 to 22, and then we already talk about saying of the wise. We don't know who is wise, and then there's a 22 and 24, and this there's a 20. Still some other. So it's hard to identify who was saying that, but the wise, and it's like here. And more proverbs of Solomon and copied by the man of Hezekiah, kings of Judah, and then here is so same, similar, and contrast. And then if you read chapter 30s, and then August, son of Jake, and then August confession and numerical saying, and there is from August, and then here is Lumo, king of Mesa. I don't know which one is, but she said about who is a wise woman. And acrostic kind of poem is like, it's a saying of the Lumo king, Lumo king of Mesa. So there's a basic idea about how the proverbs consist, the content. Proverbs content. Any questions? No. I'm gonna show you little video clips about. Sorry. Let me see. No, it doesn't work. It gives you more idea. Please.
The Book of Proverbs. The word proverb typically refers to a short, clever saying that offers some kind of wisdom, and this book has a lot of those. But they're almost all in the center section of the book, chapters 10 to 29. But there is way more going on in the Book of Proverbs, especially at the beginning, chapters 1 through 9, and the conclusion, chapters 30 and 31. The book's been designed with an introduction, chapter 1, verses 1 through 9, and it first of all links this book to King Solomon. Now remember the story in 1 Kings chapter 3. Solomon had asked God for wisdom to lead Israel well. And so Solomon became known as the wisest man in the ancient world. And we're told in 1 Kings chapter 4 that he wrote thousands of proverbs and poems and collected knowledge about plants and animals. So Solomon was like the fountainhead of Israel's wisdom literature. So while not all the material in this book is written by him personally, he is where Israel's wisdom tradition began. The introduction says that by reading this book, you too can gain wisdom. Now, wisdom for most of us means knowledge, but the Hebrew word chokhmah means much more than just mental activity. It refers to action also. So think skill or applied knowledge. This is why back in the book of Exodus, chapter 31, it was artists and craftsmen in Israel who were said to have chokhmah. So the purpose of this book is to help you develop a set of practical skills for living well in God's world. And this gets linked with another key idea in the introduction, the fear of the Lord. Now, fear here is not about terror. It's about a healthy sense of reverence and awe for God and about my place in the universe. It's a moral mindset that recognizes I am not God and that I don't get to make up my own definitions of good and evil and right and wrong. Rather, I need to humble myself before God and embrace God's definition of right and wrong, even when that's inconvenient for me. Now, this introduction leads us into the first main section of the book, chapters 1 through 9, which also doesn't contain short one-liner proverbs. Rather, what we find here are 10 speeches from a father to a son about how the son should listen to wisdom and cultivate the fear of the Lord and live accordingly, which means a life of virtue and integrity and generosity, all of which lead to success and peace. The father warns his son also about folly and evil and stupid decisions that will breed selfishness and pride, all leading to ruin and shame. And so the son should make the pursuit of wisdom and the fear of the Lord his highest goal in life. And this way of thinking, it forms the moral logic of this entire book. Now, these speeches from the father also clue us into what biblical wisdom literature is and how it's different from other parts of the Bible. These books explore how to live well in God's world, but wisdom is not the same as law, like what Moses gave Israel at Mount Sinai. And it's not the same as prophecy, divine speech to God's people. Rather, wisdom literature has the accumulated insight of God's people through the generations about how to live in a way that honors God and others. And so, through the book of Proverbs now, these human words about wisdom have been put together as God's word and wisdom to his people, which connects to the other thing you find in chapters 1 through 9. There are 4 poems from Lady Wisdom. Here, wisdom has been poetically personified as a woman who calls out to humanity to pay attention and to seek her. Wisdom says that she is woven into the fabric of the universe, and so wherever you see people making wise decisions, they are relying on her. So you see someone being generous or having sexual integrity or upholding justice. They are drawing on wisdom. These Lady Wisdom poems, they're a creative, poetic way of exploring this idea that we live in God's moral universe and that goodness and justice are objective realities that we ignore to our own peril. And so fearing the Lord, living wisely, it's living along the grain of the universe. Now together, these 2 sets of speeches from the Father and Lady Wisdom, they make a powerful claim about this book. That you're not simply reading good advice, you're reading God's own invitation to learn wisdom from previous generations. And so in the next section of the book, chapters 10 through 29, we find hundreds of ancient proverbs, and they apply wisdom and the fear of the Lord to every life topic you could imagine. Family, work, neighborhood, friendship, sex, marriage, money, anger, forgiveness, alcohol, debt, everything. And these are all filtered through the value system of Proverbs 1 through 9. Now these Proverbs, they're all pretty short, they're easy to memorize, and actually this section of the book is meant to become a reference work that you return to time and time again throughout the years, which raises some important issues in learning how to read these Proverbs. First of all, Proverbs are by nature about probabilities. So you fear the Lord and you make wise, good choices, things will likely go well for you. And if you don't fear the Lord, you're foolish, your life will likely not go so well. Now, that is all often true, but not always. Which leads to the next point, that Proverbs are not promises. They're not formulas for success. So, some Proverbs, for example, the fear of the Lord prolongs your life, but the years of the wicked are cut short. Or, train up a child in the way they should go, and when they're old, they won't turn from it. So yes, fearing God, being a moral person, will most likely lead to a better, longer life, and raising your kids in a stable, loving home does set them up well, but there are no guarantees. Lots of things can and often do go wrong in our world. And so lastly, Proverbs by nature focus on the general rule, but not the exceptions, which are many. And the wisdom books actually aren't ignorant of that. The exceptions are what the other wisdom books, Job and Ecclesiastes, are all about. And together, these acknowledge that life is too complex for simple formulas, which is why we need all of the wisdom books together to get the bigger picture. This all leads to the final section of the book, 2 large collections of poems. First, poems from a man named Agur, who begins by acknowledging his own ignorance and folly and his great need for God's wisdom. And then Agur discovers that divine wisdom has been given to him in the scriptures, which teach him how to live well. And so Agur is put before us as like a model reader of the book of Proverbs, somebody who's always open to hearing God's wisdom through the scriptures. The final poems are connected to a man named Lemuel. He's a non-Israelite king, and he passes on the wisdom that was given to him by his mom. It's guidance for being a wise and just leader. And then the final poem is an acrostic or an alphabet poem where each line begins with a new letter of the Hebrew alphabet. And the entire poem's about the woman of noble character. It depicts a woman who lives according to the wisdom of Proverbs and stands like a model of someone who takes God's wisdom and then translates it into practical decisions in everyday life, at work or at home, in her family and in her community. So the book opened with words from a father to a son about listening to Lady Wisdom, and so now the book closes by offering the words of a mother to her son about a woman who lives wisely. The book of Proverbs is for every person in every season of life. It's a guide for living wisely and well in God's good world. And that's what the book of Proverbs is all about.
Okay, is it helpful? Yeah, I think it's, I try to deliver the message with kind of basic background of the Proverbs, and then this is really concise and delivered, it's a lot of information about Proverbs. That's why I chose it to show you. Sometimes my kind of expression is limited because so maybe it's better understand for you guys, so I chose it to share with you. So any question about Proverbs so far? No? Yeah, so maybe I need to adjust the kind of what's a class schedule, and then probably, let's see how it goes. And but from next week, or maybe in 2 class or 1 class, we're gonna talk about what's a specific what's a Proverbs in the book. So we already talk about 3 sections there. It's the first introduction and main part and the conclusion part. And then even though there's a different authors, but try to talk about, maybe I hope that we can relate to our current life, and then how kind of assess our current life, and then how it's different and how can live in different cultures. Yeah. No questions? Okay, so let's start here today. So have a good weekend and see you next